Hello, my friends, and welcome to another edition of our public speaking series. We really appreciate you wanting to know more about public speaking and how it helps you in your everyday life. Not only are you perceived as a great leader, you're also perceived as a person bigger than life. You're also able to get a lot more in your career and out of your career than if you don't take this course or if you don't consider public speaking. Today's material include the idea of the introduction and conclusion, how that we must carefully use words and custom fit our language, developing a style, and finally putting all that together to offer up a good delivery. Now, we've talked in the past about other items that are important for public speaking. But today's information is very, very important because this helps you put the whole package together. All of this applies for whether it's persuasive speaking, informative speaking, and so forth. You can use all of this in just about any speech that you give. But it's very important that you consider how you present your material to the audience. Let's begin. First of all, you need to have a good introduction. This is the way the door opens if you're going to show someone around your speech presentation. It's almost like a room. Open the door and give them a preview as to what's going to happen, where you're going to take them. Anytime you plan a trip, you've got somebody following you, you'll say, now first I'm going to go down this road, then turn right. We give them a preview about how we're going to drive. That way they can more appropriately follow you without too much trouble. Same with public speaking. If you're going to give someone a tour of your topic, then you're going to give them a roadmap of how you're going to get there. For example, when I started today, I showed you that we were going to have introduction, conclusion, words and language, style, and delivery. You'll know where I'm headed and you'll know when I'm finished. Now, the introduction is the way in which we tell people, we preview what's going to happen. It's almost like a movie trailer. We're going to show you the bits and pieces of the most exciting parts of what we're going to cover. It's almost like what will happen next week on a TV show. Well, you get the idea. But it has to also be coupled with an attention getter. People are tired. They work on their cell phones. They're doing all kinds of things that, well, it's important for us to figure out how to make that happen. And so, we can think about how to introduce our material, but also get their attention. It's almost like blowing a horn, a trumpet. Hear ye, if you recall the old ways in Middle Ages when they would have news for people. So you've got to do the same thing. It can be an illustration, it could be an anecdote, it can be some humor, but be careful in humor not to use too much, especially as a novice speaker. So, the introduction is the way in which we preview what's going to happen, and it's echoed then by the conclusion. The conclusion is a summary of what's happened. It allows us to figure out how to tell people what we've done. The introduction tells us where we're going, the middle tells them, and finally the conclusion says where we've been. Goes back over the information that we've presented. Both of them are very, very important. They're bookends for the middle or the pith of the information. And they imitate life. We have a birth, live our life, and then we have closing, the death. Speeches imitate the same thing. Every speech, whatever kind of presentation, we even do this in conversation. Think about it. Hello, how are you? Talk, talk, talk. Well, okay, I've got to go. Bye. Life is like that. Public speaking imitates life. Next, we want to talk about words and language. Words build the language. The words you use have to sound a little bit intelligent. When you give a public speech, it's heightened conversation. It's not just you conversing with someone, it's you conversing with a room full of people, or a large gathering, or thousands on mass media. Ever how you're presenting, you must use words that fit together, that make sense. And be careful not to mispronounce the words. When you're practicing your speech, look them up. If there's a word you have difficulty pronouncing, make sure that you look that word up and figure out how to pronounce it appropriately. Try to use words that sound like you've got some sense. Now, don't speak too high over your audience. I used to have a professor at in my undergraduate degree that he was so intelligent and had so well read and had such a huge vocabulary, we couldn't understand what he was saying. It was hard to write all the words down because we didn't know what they were, so we could go look them up. It was certainly a dilemma. So you have to sometimes, I don't want to use this phrase, but it's the best one I can think of at the moment, dumb down the presentation if we're talking to people that are not highly educated. However, on the other hand, if you go talk to some graduate students about something you want them to do, you have to heighten the ability of your words. Learn new vocab, learn new ways of expression, imitate others, good public speakers you hear, talk more like them. Today, with our technology, TED Talk, YouTube, you can listen to a lot of speeches and get a lot of good ideas of what and what not to do when it comes to words. They should be articulate, clear, crisp, never get in a hurry. So many times I see novice public speakers rush through their presentation, hard to follow, and they mispronounce things, they stumble on words, and in the end, they feel real embarrassed. Take your time, pause, relax. Easy for me to say, I know, but that's the most effective way to get the most out of every word, is to go over it carefully and make sure it's presented. Then, that puts together language. Your language should not be all choppy. It should make sense, have good and even flow, because in that way, you're able to make sense of your journey, and people can make sense of your journey too. Words and language, very important. Make them colorful, powerful, effective. Avoid using so many passive verbs like is, are, was, were. There's no action there. Try to change your verbs, push, pull, raise, lower, all of those verbs that give more mental pictures and more excitement to your presentation. Next is style. Everyone develops their own style. I've watched students over the years as they've worked hard to develop a style of speaking that fits their personality best. No style is right for one and then necessarily right for the other. There's no one size fits all. Now, it's okay to imitate others, but again, I would go back to this idea of TED Talks, all kinds of speeches that are recorded. Politicians, watch them speak. Not necessarily because you agree with them, but the style in which they present their material. You might land on something that suits you best. Your style should be upbeat, positive, powerful, and it should be professional. You should act like a professional. If you think it, that's what you'll be. Learn to speak in a style that delivers crisp, clear, persuasive, powerful messages. Takes practice, takes time. I want to stop on that practice. I tell novice students, practice your speech 25 times. Always there's resistance. But if I were you, I would practice over and over and over again so you can get it down and get it right. Finally, we're talking about delivery. This is us putting the whole package together. You have researched your speech. You have outlined your speech. You have converted it to speaking notes, plain and simple, something that you don't have to worry too much about, looking down all the time. You practice, practice, practice 25 times, and now you deliver. Raise your shoulders back, get good posture, look straight in the eyes of all of your audience members, and make it happen. This is the way in which you can present a good delivery. Make it upbeat, good volume, articulate, smile. Make sure that you're open and out with all of your gestures, all your facial expressions. Project. This is the delivery in here. You're bringing it out here. You've birthed this baby. You're delivering your ideas. You're handing out now the material that you've thought about, worked on, and practiced for so long. Every event where I speak is a monumental moment for me. I look at it as a time when the world stands still and I get to deliver this message that's so important. Whether it's about public speaking or whether it's about how to live your life, whatever the message that I have, that's the most important moment for that day, that time. Make it very, very special. So now today we've talked about some important items. One of them, introduction. Has to have an attention getter. Preview what's going to happen. Conclusion. That's the summary. Drawing to close what you've said. Go back, give them a highlight of what you said, how important it was. Words, powerful words, effective words, descriptive words that build good language. Developing your own style. Your style will be different than mine, but it's okay to imitate parts of other public speakers that you hear and like. And finally, delivering that very effective message. This then helps us to become better public speakers. This doesn't happen overnight, but with great practice, with great concentration, and with doing the right processes that we're explaining to you, suddenly you'll be the speaker that you've always wanted to be. You'll have confidence and strength, and you'll feel very good about who you are. I'm Dr. David Lucas, and I say now it's time for you to get out there and speak.